Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, saluting Earth Day on April 22nd with an ongoing commitment to help offset carbon emissions with sustainable harvesting of Missouri forests. Details at choosewood.com.
Welcome to St. Louis on the Air. I'm Sarah Fenske. Eddie Cox is an up-and-comer in the St. Louis hip-hop scene. As Sir Eddie C., he's making waves with locals and even just notched his first performances in New Orleans and Chicago. Let's give a taste of his sound with his track, Change.
Let me do my thing for a minute, I just switch a lane for a minute, sorry if I change for a minute, I ain't never been a lane for a minute, yeah, let's get it. We all living for something to die for. Stunning, that's all that I know. Stunning,
and that's Change by rising hip-hop artist Sir Eddie C. But he'll be the first to tell you that he doesn't necessarily have the quote-unquote coolest origin story. As Eddie Cox, he grew up in Belleville. And at his school, he made the nationals in debate. So here to discuss that point where the debate team meets hip-hop is Eddie Cox himself, also known as Sir Eddie C. Eddie, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you very much for having me. This is awesome. Thank you.
So you're from Belleville. Is there much of a hip-hop scene in the Metro East?
You know, it's pretty funny because a lot of people do music there, but there's not a lot of outlets to get that out. So I'm happy that you mentioned being on the debate team, because that was definitely something I did to basically figure out a way to use words and express myself, because I was always writing like hip hop lines, but I wasn't able to get them out in a certain way. So yeah, people definitely, there's a really, really rich music history in Belleville. It's pretty cool.
And you now live in St. Louis?
Yes, I've been living here for about 5 years, in the city for 3, and then in West County for 2 years.
Okay. And so you mentioned debate. Like this was a big thing in your life. Tell me how you first got involved with the debate team.
Pretty much it started really simple. High school, we had to pick an elective, and none of the other things interested me at all. I always did sports in grade school all the way up, and I was like, all right, let me try this debate thing. I went to the first tournament I went to and got completely massacred. It was really bad. Like, it shut out.
They had to wipe you off the floor.
Yes. These kids came in with like briefcases and everything, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going on? I just have like sheets of paper that I'm gonna read off of. Totally got the floor. I got people wiped the floor with me, and my competitive side, since I did sports, kicked in, and I was like, oh no, I have to get good at this. I went to the coach immediately and was like, teach me how to be good at this. And
I bet the coach was thrilled that you had such a bad first debate, because that's what you needed.
Well, absolutely. And the thing is that when you signed up for the elective, it was actually a debate class, and no one wanted to go to a tournament. They were like, wait, no, you didn't tell us we had to go to a tournament. And she was just basically like, yeah, no, that you have to pass the class and you have to go to a tournament. So that's what did it. And I took it all the way through high school and college, and it was great.
And so in college, you stuck with it.
Yeah.
And so you got a degree in political science.
Yes.
How do you go from being a debate champ, you're going to nationals, and you're studying poli-sci, to saying, you know what, I'm also going to do hip-hop?
Well, it's really, really funny. I started freestyling a lot in college, just freestyling, rapping with a lot of the people that I we're in a really small dorm, and we're just freestyling, rapping together. And one of my friends, Alex, I got a laptop. I got an Apple MacBook for Christmas one year. My mom got it for me, and my friend Alex told me, "Hey man, you can actually record a song on your MacBook." And I was like, "Okay, how do you know that?" And he's like, "Well, my ex-girlfriend made a song, and we should probably make one too to make her jealous." And I'm like, "Okay."
So women were involved.
Absolutely, for sure. I love women. Shout out to women. But no, we made a song, and the first time I heard my voice on a track, I was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So it was a really weird transition, because I would be at debate tournaments, prepping for rounds about like really deep political issues, all the while when I had off time mixing records and making songs at debate tournaments. So I knew the moment when I wanted to make the full transition, because actually my partner and I like won a tournament, and then I was like, yeah, you know what? I think I want to do music now. So that's when I made the transition. You kind of got to
go out on top.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been all music ever since.
Yeah. Music has been like the main thing that I've been doing. Like it's great, and to see it grow, like you mentioned, Chicago and New Orleans.
That's huge.
Yeah, for sure, because a lot of people don't leave the city. So to be able to go out and be able to do the music, and it's being received really well from different types of audiences, it's really gratifying, and I do appreciate it a lot. So yeah.
So let's get to that music. We had played a song earlier, but I also want to play a track called Idols. And you've said this has special meaning for you related to your mother.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So what is that? What is that story there?
So Idols, it started out as a critique of one of my favorite artists, but then like towards the middle of the song, it does get into this explanation of appreciation rather from my mother. And she is someone that really, really taught me all of the things in life that I feel that I needed to do to like really grow and be like a really good human being. But more importantly, how to really, really work hard. So there's certain lines in the songs where, it may be certain things that may seem like status symbols, but they mean way more. So in the song, I say, I remember when my mom copped her first Benz. So she bought a Mercedes Benz. She always wanted one. She grew up really, really poor in the projects, and she always wanted that car. And she worked really hard. She moved us to, like, I never saw, like, massive amounts of struggle ever, because like by the
she
time
paved the way.
Exactly, like we were already like kind of good by the time like my brother and my sister and I were all born. So and she would go back. And like she did like financial work, so she would do that in the community, and she would go back, in that car, and she was always good there. And Idols was important because I got to play that for her in 2018 on October 1st was her birthday, and then she passed away on the 12th.
Oh my! So she got to hear it right before.
I got to play it for her. And
That's
most people don't
huge.
get that moment,
Yeah.
Most people will make those type of songs and lyrics like after someone has passed. And I really got to, show my appreciation for her because, again, she did pay for debate. She did pay for me to go to all these tournaments and all these expensive things that come along with, like, political science. I went to a private college, all these things. And for her to say, like, no, you should be doing music, I appreciate you doing this, meant the world. And that's really the only cosign I ever really need in music is because she gave everything for me to be. I always tell people in an alternate universe, I'm working in Washington, D.C. right now doing campaign organization or something.
Yeah.
And for her to not be, because how many other kids want to do things in the arts and their parents are like, no, you're being a doctor. Like,
Yeah.
what do you know? You're doing. And for her to say, and for her to give me that blessing and say, like, no, this is for you, like, that meant the world.
Well,
So.
let's play that track, Idols.
I don't know, I just want it better for my kids. Just to show them they ain't got a lot on projects. I remember when my mom copped her first Benz. She made a point to drive it through her old projects. Not to stop, but to remind herself where she been. And to show me that anything is an option. Well, hey mama, I caught that lesson. I hope you living long enough to see me manifest it. Yeah, you taught me no weapon formed against me will ever prosper. You taught me cheaper to keep like Johnny Taylor and gospel. Just know that I got you. Ooh, just know your son poppin'. Woo, just know that I'm on the move to make things better for you.
And that is Idols by Sir Eddie C. And Eddie Cox is here with us in studio. Now, Eddie, you say you make regular people rap. What does that mean?
Yes. Okay, so this is one of my favorite points of conversation because I do feel like in hip hop sometimes people are forced to pick a lane, as we say, and stick with it. Where I feel like I've always appreciated artists that were able to paint, do music, the dancing, all the arts, and really represent a broad spectrum of what it means to be a human being. So in that, I've always wanted my music to reflect the same thing. So yeah, sometimes I'm going to turn up and have fun, you know what I mean? And then other times I'm definitely going to want to have a little bit deeper conversation about a specific issue that's pertaining to social issues, especially as a Black person, And then sometimes I'll be sad over a breakup, but all these things are all encompassing of what it means to be just a regular person. And I feel like that's what makes my music really identifiable and accessible to so many people is because I'm not just one thing and, I know exactly what I'm going to get from him every time because I feel like every time I drop a song, I'm brand new. And I always want people to feel like they're not just getting the same thing repeatedly. So, yeah.
And do you feel that your political science training comes in handy in your hip hop?
Absolutely. Debate especially because like debate led me to political science, but being able to speak to people and communicate effectively has always been like a strong suit of mine. And even in my first performances ever, I was able to rock the crowd, so to speak. But I only had that experience. There was no prior experience in music to do that. It was like me getting up in front of like a bunch of people that was like, okay, what is this kid gonna say in a political argument? Because like I did wear Jordans in like debate rounds. I wasn't the kid that was like came with a suit and a briefcase, but I made really, really good points. And so all that trained me for what I'm doing now. And I appreciate it because you never, like all those years ago, I never would have imagined me signing up for a debate class would have prepped me for exactly what I'm doing right now, being in front of you and being able to talk about my music. So it's all full circle.
It's a fascinating journey.
Yeah.
So Eddie Cox, a.k.a. Sir Eddie C., thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And good luck with your music career.
Thank you very much.
St. Louis on the Air is produced by Evie Hemphill and Lara Hampton, with production assistance from Aaron Dorr, Charlie McDonald, and Joshua Phelps. The senior producer is Emily Woodbury, and the executive producer is Alex Hoyer. St. Louis on the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio, 90.7 KWMU. Thank you for listening. I'm Sarah Fenske.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, saluting Earth Day on April 22nd with an ongoing commitment to help offset carbon emissions with sustainable harvesting of Missouri forests. Details at choosewood.com.
The Gateway brings you the day's news from the St. Louis region and across Missouri. It also includes stories from the Illinois side of the river and our Metro East reporter, Will Bauer.
In Alton, in Belleville, in East St. Louis, in Edwardsville, in Cahokia Heights, at Scott Air Force Base, I'm Will Bauer, St. Louis Public Radio.
Listen to reports from Will and all of our journalists weekdays on the Gateway, on the STLPR app, and wherever you get podcasts.